is Jaguars Happy Hour. And now, Citrus Distiller's most experienced taste tester and poster boy, J.P. Shadrick.
That's me. Welcome in. It is Jaguars Happy Hour and a busy 2 hours ahead on this Thursday afternoon. It's Week 6. We'll hear from Analyst Jeff Lageman coming up ahead of the Jaguars-Colts matchup at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis this Sunday, a 1 o'clock kickoff time. Quarterback play, a big topic around the team and the fan base this week after 7 giveaways from the quarterback over the last 2 games. And then at 5 o'clock, the Doug Pederson Show. We'll hear from the Jaguars head coach at 5 o'clock today on the Jaguars Radio Network and get his thoughts about how they're working through some of the issues at quarterback and the offense as a whole lately. The defense playing pretty well. Plenty to get to there. The Jaguars continued preparation for the Week 6 game against the Colts today. It was coordinator day at the podium, as it is every Thursday. Offensive coordinator Press Taylor knows this offense is leaving opportunities out there on the field, and it goes deeper than just the quarterback.
The last 2 weeks we haven't played to the standard we've set for ourselves as an offense. That's Trevor as well as a lot of other people, coaches included. We're included in that. We have not met that standard that we've set for ourselves, and that's why we've come up short as an offense the last 2 weeks. So we all take responsibility for that. There's throws, there's decisions Trevor wants back, just like there's decisions a lot of guys want back. Play calls we want back, play designs we want back, suggestions, all that type of stuff. So, we're all in this thing together.
Earlier this week, quarterback Trevor Lawrence on the balance of taking a check down instead of throwing deeper down the field into a risky situation. There's a deep answer from him into how to keep the offense alive and on the field.
You're never going to be perfect on that. As a quarterback, you're gonna make some mistakes, but it's what we talked about, especially yesterday, and that's kind of my goal, just moving forward. And I've always thought about it, but especially now after the last couple games, just don't make a bad play worse. As far as if we didn't get the look we necessarily thought we were going to have, or first couple guys aren't open, you don't make a bad play worse. Throw the ball away, scramble for no gain, a yard or two, whatever it is, and move on to the next play. And that's kind of the lesson to learn. Just you relearn these things all the time playing this sport, because it's you think you got something and then you make that mistake again, and you just have to keep going back to the little things. So I think for me, it's just being a great player is, yes, making all the routine plays, even the great plays, but it's also how do I minimize the bad plays and how do I make a bad play. Maybe I misread something, but it doesn't turn into interception. It's just an incompletion. You throw it away. So stuff like that. I think that's where the great ones, that's what they do really well, is they don't make bad plays worse and they really minimize them. So
we'll see if he can adjust it this week. On to the defense now. Trayvon Walker had the unnecessary roughness last week, but in general, the league is protecting quarterbacks a little bit more. Mike Caldwell, the defensive coordinator, explained how challenging it is to teach where and how to hit the quarterback.
Yeah, well, you have the rules. You just have to abide by them, and they're not changing, but you just have to understand that in that situation, you can't throw them down. You can pull them down, horse collar them in the pocket, but there are certain ways where you have to land on a quarterback or try not to land on a quarterback, and we've gone over that. They understand it, and it's tough for a defensive player, but that's what we got to do, abide by the rules.
There you have it. You can see the full press conferences, Press Taylor and Mike Caldwell, available on Jaguars.com. And, I guess in order to, hit the quarterback, that means you have to get to the quarterback. We'll get to that coming up as well. Jeff Lageman with us, Jaguars analyst. Good afternoon. It's Week 6.
Week 6 on the Indy.
On to Indianapolis.
On to Indy. To use my best Bill Belichick, we're on to Indy.
Well, good thing, because the last 2 weeks have not gone so well for this team. Back-to-back losses, sloppy conditions in Philly 2 weeks ago, and then coming back home. Disappointing loss, to say the least, against Houston. But still an opportunity. You can go ahead and you get a win this week. 2-1 in the division, 3-3, and everything's still out in front for this team.
Yeah, I was actually just writing my little tidbit for John Osher, who compiles the experts' opinions.
Who?
Some guy named John Osher.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of him. Yeah.
Okay. And I was writing in this, because you say the Jags will win if, the Colts will win if, and then how you see it, that kind of thing. And it's amazing when you look at the Jaguars' 2 wins in that they were +5 in those games. You had 3 takeaways against the Colts. They were all interceptions. And then you had 2 takeaways against the Chargers. So you're +5 in your 2 wins. And then I believe you were 7 giveaways, 1 takeaway in the last 2 losses.
That's
not
right.
not looking back to Washington.
That's right.
And they always say that turnover differential is one of the biggest factors or single most determining factor in whether you win or lose. I mean, if you want to look at one stat, I mean that one right there might be the one to take a look at. And yes, it's obvious, and a lot of people know this, that a lot of those takeaways or the giveaways have been at the hands of Trevor Lawrence, and that's part of what happens when you have a young quarterback, and he needs to have a bounce-back week. We were hoping that he would have a bounce-back week this past game, and it didn't happen. I thought it wasn't as egregious as the game in Philadelphia because the number of fumbles that he put on the ground in that game were tough. But he's got to get better. But what Press Taylor just said is so true, and that he's saying, look, we all got to get better. Coaches, players, everybody around Trevor, and he's right on that. I mean, you go back and you look at that game, this past game, and that was a winnable game, JP, and there's no argument, I think, from anybody that that's a winnable game.
No doubt.
And you look at things that could have been done differently in that game from other people besides Trevor Lawrence, okay? Trayvon Walker, okay, what Mike Caldwell was just talking about. We got to play by the rules. Well, okay, let's not be offsides, and let's not be offsides and then get mad about it and throw the quarterback down to the ground. You got to be smarter than that. And here's the thing. Around the league this past weekend, that might have been the biggest reason as to why now going forward, you better not do that again.
That's right.
Because the league is trying to protect their players. So that's one example. Dan Arnold has a drop. Etienne has a drop. Evan Ingram has a drop. Zay Jones might have made one of those 2 catches that were kind of off his fingertips. Okay. James Robinson on a 4th and 1. Okay, little read option.
Mm-hmm.
If he goes straight downhill, it's 1-on-1 with the safety to the end zone. Okay, but let's say he makes a bad read. Okay, you see he goes front side right there. Juwan Taylor, who was on the left side in an unbalanced look, get a little better block. And then so if James makes the wrong read, you still get a yard. So it's
easy to say, oh, the quarterback.
Of course it's easy to say that.
When there's 11 guys out there.
It's very easy to say that, And that's why I bring up some of these plays because, I mean, the reality is that a lot of it is on the quarterback, but it's also there's some things that are on other people. There's plenty on Trevor. Early in the game, his throws were a little high.
Mm-hmm.
And then later in the game, he's trying to force a ball into a window that doesn't exist when you have to be able to do other things underneath. The other things underneath, okay, in what we call yak, okay, and it's not an animal. Okay, it's not a llama type thing, JP. I know that's what you're thinking.
Thank you.
Okay, yak, acronym, yards after catch.
Thank you.
When you face teams that play a lot of cover two, sometimes you got to throw it underneath. But then also when you throw it underneath, everything with the ball placement is imperative. What I mean by that is that if the ball is put in a position to where the receiver can do things with the ball immediately after making the catch, the better the throw, the better the reaction, the better the yak. And so Trevor has to have, even though he's completing some of these balls underneath, he has to have some better accuracy of those throws underneath so that the players are in a better position to come out of the catch to gain more yards. So
does that come with time? I mean, just time on task with these guys, like the timing? I mean, how does that improve?
A quarterback's accuracy is so dependent upon anticipation, correct?
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it, with a baseball pitcher, okay, you've been around baseball many years.
Mm-hmm.
Pitchers are all about accuracy, okay? When they're winding up and delivering a pitch, knowing where they want to go with the ball. That's how they can pinpoint accuracy on certain pitches. A quarterback is very similar in that if they know where the ball is going to go or have a pretty strong idea as to where the ball needs to go or where it's going to go, then they anticipate that with their feet. They react with their feet in a much more anticipatory fashion to where now they're ready to make the throw. Tom Brady, when he lines up, JP, he'll eliminate the first and the second option on a play and maybe be on to the third and fourth when the ball hits his hands. So now he knows, okay, I'm not throwing it to those two guys because I've determined the coverage already pre-snap.
Right. Yeah.
So more experience a player gets, and in Trevor Lawrence's case, the more experience he gets, the more accuracy he will get because he will know where he needs to be going with the football.
I think to your baseball reference, that's called command of pitches.
Yes,
you know exactly where it's going,
Exactly.
and if you command your fastball or whatever it is,
Exactly.
you know exactly where and why you're putting it in a spot, and that comes with time.
And with a quarterback, the when you start to gain more experience in a system and a progression. So I've repped this progression many times, and now I'm repping it against 4 different defenses. Now you have something that your memory goes back to, and so then your reaction time is quicker, your anticipation is much better, your accuracy is much better because your footwork is more anticipating where the ball needs to go. So, all of these things factor in, and I will tell you, you got to have a certain level of toughness to play that position on the field when I'm talking about being able to take the physical punishment, but you also have to have the mental toughness to be able to fight through some of these young moments and to be able to kind of put the blinders on and be able to focus on your game. And that's where Trevor's at right now.
Yeah, I liked what he said. Don't make a bad play worse. If things aren't going well, just dump it away to the sideline and live to fight third down. Don't force it in that window at 2nd and 1.
And here's another way to put it. When he says don't make a bad play worse, and that's if nothing's there, I think is where he's talking about,
right.
where there are no options. Okay, and then sometimes with a quarterback you get greedy. When I say you get greedy is that you want to force the ball down the field a little bit into a very small window when sometimes all you need to do is move the sticks and line up another play and get a new set of downs. So check it down or throw it to this guy underneath, because that window down the field just doesn't make any sense to try to force it into that window because it's too small. The percentage of completing that pass down there in that small window is much smaller than it is of this, okay, let's just move the chains here on this down, throw it up underneath, and then, okay, now we'll line up. Maybe we'll get a play down the field later on. And the challenge this week is similar to last week. And that from the standpoint of you're facing teams now that like to play a lot of zone. Lovie Smith, it was a cover 2 zone. All eyes are on the quarterback. Trevor sometimes doesn't do a very good job with kind of hiding where his eyes are. Okay, that's part of experience as well. This week, Gus Bradley defense plays more cover 3 zone than anybody in the league. So here's another week in which you have people with their eyes on you watching your eyes. And so this is going to be a big challenge for Trevor this week. He's got to protect the ball. And if he does, this team will have a strong chance of having success again against the Colts.
PRI Productions, the official event production company of the Jags, has everything you need to bring your next idea to life. Visit PRIProductions.com. We are just off and running. 2 hours ahead of us tonight. Well, an hour and 45 minutes ahead of us. The Doug Pederson Show is at 5 o'clock. We'll hear from the Jaguars head coach and get his thoughts heading into Week 6, especially on that offense and the quarterback play and that we've just talked through with Trevor Lawrence. We will return, though, with a look at the Jaguars defense and their matchup this week. Matt Ryan and the Indianapolis Colts await. This is Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Reconnect with the best version of you at Amara Med Spa, Northeast Florida's premier luxury medical spa, located in Ponte Vedra, Town Center, Avondale, St. Augustine, and Fernandina. With the most advanced injectors, estheticians, and technology, Amara Med Spa is redefining beauty, offering services such as Botox and filler, M-Sculpt Neo, painless laser hair removal, and advanced skincare treatments. Visit theamaramedspa.com and book a complimentary consultation today.
It's football season, and time to take your game to the next level with a Ford F-150 truck. Light up your tailgate with an available Pro Power onboard generator. And with an available 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine, you can tow just about anything you need to rule the stadium lot. Ford F-150, part of the F-Series lineup that have been the best-selling pickups for 45 straight years. Get to your local Ford store today. Proud sponsor of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Cancer patients across the Southeast make Baptist MD Anderson Cancer Center in Jacksonville their first choice for treatment. Dr. Jonathan Melquist explains why.
We have so many resources that can help a patient from the very onset, and we just have a degree of unity and cohesive care that is hard to match. It's especially with the tougher cancers that we really excel.
Appointments available now. Call 844-632-2278.
Your hometown gate now has more ways to save. Introducing My Gate Rewards, a new loyalty program with member-exclusive savings and fuel discounts. Earn points on in-store purchases, take advantage of special offers, and save on products you love. Score free coffee, fountain drinks, pizza, and soft serve with Gates frequent shopper clubs. Then use your points on savings at the pump. Download the My Gate Rewards app in the App Store today or ask a store associate for more information. Go from good to Gate.
Committed to the team, committed to the mission. At Navy Mutual, we're committed to providing high-quality life insurance to members of the military and their families. So our policies have no fine print and no military service restrictions. We don't work on commission. We're nonprofit, so we pass the savings along to our members. Because at Navy Mutual, our highest commitment is to you. Visit NavyMutual.org. Navy Mutual, insuring those who serve.
Hey, I'm driving. I joined the new Dunkin' Rewards program, and today's the day I'm going to use my points on a medium iced latte and a couple of chocolate frosted donuts.
Here you go, and thanks for being a rewards member.
And now I'm using those chocolate frosted donuts, kids, to get a few sweet, sweet, blissful minutes of beautiful relief from the never-ending onslaught of backseat bickering.
Join new Dunkin' Rewards today. Join new Dunkin' Rewards today. Save them, stack them, use them how you want. America runs on Dunkin'. Terms apply.
When Jaguars news breaks, you'll hear about it first on 1010XL, home of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jaguars Game Day Radio is brought to you by ViStar Credit Union. Do good, bank better. J.P. Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. It is Jaguars Happy Hour, and the Jaguars are headed to Indianapolis this week to face the Colts in Week 6. The Jags shut out the Colts, of course, back in Week 2. A month apart between these games, and the Jaguars' Logs will be facing Matt Ryan again. They sacked him 5 times back in that opening matchup. They've shut down the running game that helped them be able to rush the passer in that game.
Which was Indy. That's the big reason why all of that happened.
Yeah, you shut down Taylor, and then all of a sudden it set up everything. They didn't have a couple receivers either way. Those guys are back. There's some changes now on this Indy team.
Well, there's changes as far as and every time you play a team in a division, the second time around, it's always going to be different. There's different guys that are available, and sometimes a team's identity can change a little bit. Lineups can change, and there's a little bit of change. The big amount of change is will or won't he play is Jonathan Taylor. I don't know. I mean, what have we gotten a practice report from today?
I haven't seen it officially yet. I did hear that he was on the field today.
Which this is a big question mark, because even if he does play, how effective can he be? Because the reports is that he had a high ankle sprain, which was 2 games ago. I think the Tennessee game, if I'm correct. Let me look. Yeah, it was Tennessee, so that was the 2nd of October. And then they played the short week against Denver on a Thursday night in Denver. And typically guys that have a high ankle sprain, they're not coming back in 2 weeks. I mean, it's most of them are 4 to 6. So will he or won't he play? That's a big question.
He was out there today, according to a report from the Indianapolis Star, the newspaper in Indy. He was back at practice Thursday, set out Wednesday with the ankle injury. He was warming up and doing drills during the media portion. And then running back Nyheim Hines with a concussion was also at practice, but he had a red non-contact jersey.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Okay, so this past Thursday game against Denver, you don't have Jonathan Taylor available. Now you're expecting them to go with Nyheim Hines. Well, he gets a concussion. and has to leave the game because he actually tries to stand up and is falling down.
Yes.
Gross motor instability. And I would be shocked if he's available to play, even though he got the extra half a week from the game on Thursday, because, JP, we know right now the current climate in the league when it comes to concussions is that I think they're going to err on the side of caution with some of these guys, especially in light of what's happening with the Tua situation. So I don't think he's going to be available. So is Jonathan Taylor going to play? We don't know. Hines, I don't expect him to play. The next guy up was Deion Jackson, who actually did a pretty solid job. He had 13 carries for 62 yards in that game on Thursday night. Looked like a pretty good back. And then they had Phillip Lindsay, who they activated off of the practice squad, and he had trouble finding the holes. And I was always kind of curious as to why the Broncos got rid of him and why nobody really kind of latched onto him. Because remember, he had a pretty strong rookie campaign as an undrafted guy. Well, what I saw Thursday night make you think, yeah, I can understand why he was available. So anyway, they've got some issues when it comes to their running backs. Their center, your Alabama guy, Kelly, got hurt, okay? He had a hip. He had to leave the game, didn't finish the game. And then their wide receivers, you say that they're back, but do they really scare anybody?
Yeah, Pittman is the guy who missed, of course, last meeting back in week 2. But is he a home run threat? I don't know. He's a big body. I'll say that. 6'4", 223.
Yeah, he's a big receiver. But, I mean, he doesn't change the way defensive coordinators scheme the Colts.
I say that. He'll have 3 touchdowns now that I said that, of course.
Well,
but,
I'm not.
All right,
I'll knock on wood with that, too,
Hope
JP, because I don't want to mess that up either. But, I mean, he's a good player. He's got size. But I don't think he doesn't scare anybody. And then on the other side, they've got a rookie, Alec Pierce. So these are 2 bigger receivers. They do a good job catching the ball. But again, you go back to the days when the Colts had speed at wide receiver, legitimate speed, and people were scared of Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison. These guys aren't it. And Matt Ryan is throwing, once you get past those 2 guys, to a bunch of no-name guys. Big questions on defense. Is Shaq Leonard going to play? But to be honest with you, JP, that might be the smallest question that they have. Shaq Leonard is a really good football player, right?
Yes.
How many time Pro Bowl guy? How many time All-Pro?
Almost every year in the
Pretty
league.
good, right?
Yeah.
And 1 year he didn't get the Pro Bowl. He should have been in the Pro Bowl, which I think was his rookie year. And he had the back injury, had back surgery, and then he finally came back and played against Tennessee. In that game, he gets a concussion and a broken nose. And the reality is that the guys that have been playing when he hasn't been playing, which is like E.J. Speed has been stepping in there, have been playing really good. So I don't think he's missed because he's a turnover-making machine. But the level of play that they're getting with his backups has been exceptionally good for a backup, I can tell you that.
The Colts offensive line, a couple of years ago, you would have looked at it and been, oh, wow, this is one of the best lines in all of football. Nelson was a couple years in at left guard. They had some other personnel there, and they had kind of fixed that offensive line that they didn't have when Andrew Luck was around there. They kind of neglected things, but they made up for lost time. Well, now Matt Ryan is the most sacked quarterback in the NFL this year. What's going on the offensive line, and how can this Jags defense exploit this group?
Well, he's the most sacked with Matt Stafford. Him and Matt Stafford, 21 sacks. Both guys have been taken down. Well, first of all, you got to stop the run, and that's how the Jaguars were able to affect him in the first meeting. And when you stop the run, it puts a lot of pressure on an offensive line that's really trying to find a groove and a rhythm, and they haven't found it yet. This past game, Thursday night, that they played against the Broncos, they actually tried to change the lineup a little bit to see if they could get some better results. They started a rookie left tackle in Bernard Ryman, whatever you want, how you pronounce his name. Quentin Nelson started at his usual left guard. Kelly started at center, but again got hurt during that game. And they made another switch over on the right side. Matt Pryor, who had been their normal starting left tackle, moved over to right tackle. Then they kicked Braden Smith, I believe his name is, Braden Smith. They kicked him down to right guard. And then they benched Danny Pinter, who was the guy that was always kind of considered the weakest link with the Colts offensive line. And the results didn't get any better. it might have gotten worse because Ryman, the left guard or the left tackle, the rookie, got hammered. I mean, hammered. And then Matt Pryor wasn't that good at right tackle. And then you get an injury in the middle. And then I will say this, Quentin Nelson is not playing that good. I mean,
he was singing his praises going into week 2.
Because I thought the first game he played really well. And for some reason.
You had him in the Hall of Fame going into week 2.
I mean, this guy's one of the best guards in football. I mean, typically he's one of the best guards I've ever watched on film. And the performance that he had Thursday night against the Broncos was not that good. And I guess the previous week against Tennessee was not that good either. So and you go and you look at what his rating is on PFF.
Pro Football Focus, yes.
Okay.
What was it?
And if you put in the category that you got to have 50% of the snaps, which is kind of a qualifying factor to rank the guard. So you're trying to rank the guys that play, not somebody that goes in and plays 10 snaps and plays exceptional and gets a high rating because of that. So you want to take out some of those outliers. So I did. You go in there and you put 50% of the snaps in, and he's ranked 23rd.
Wow.
23rd.
How about that?
Yeah. Which, not very good. Ryan Kelly, isn't he supposed to be one of the better centers in football?
That's what we hear.
21st. So, I mean, what's going on with the Colts? Well, I mean, the guys aren't playing as well, the ones that are supposed to be playing well. They're not playing as well as they should. So this is an opportunity for the Jaguars. So if you stop the run, and if they don't have Jonathan Taylor, it's going to be a lot easier to do that. And if Jonathan Taylor plays, how healthy will he be? You got a great opportunity to get after Matt Ryan, who is not going to be anywhere besides right in the pocket. He ain't going anywhere. I mean, that's when you're a pass rusher, you want to pass rush guys like him because you know Matt Ryan doesn't move so good no more. I mean, he's not going to evade anybody in the pocket. And it's not like he has this great pocket presence about him. He got away in the pocket on one play. It was late in the game against the Broncos, and he made a nice little escape up into the pocket, made a throw down the field. But, I mean, for the most part, once he gets moving, he doesn't function very well.
That's good news. We'll see if the Jags can take advantage of that this Sunday at Lucas Oil Stadium. Plenty ahead on this show. We'll come back with the injury report. Nothing official from the Jaguars as of yet today, but we'll get to what we have when we return. And then at 5 o'clock, it's the Doug Pederson Show. We'll hear from the Jags head coach ahead of this matchup against the Colts. This is Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at TIAA Bank Field because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Bono's is currently expanding its brand with franchise opportunities throughout the Southeast and beyond. Over 70 years of authentic Southern pit barbecue and owning your own business are a great combo. Go to bonosbarbq.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Jaguars fans, huddle up for the best defense against expensive car repairs, CarShield. Score big with the nation's #1 automotive protection company, CarShield. They offer affordable plans that cover over 6,000 parts and systems in your car, truck, or SUV. Don't miss any Jaguars action this season with a car breakdown. Call the MVPs at CarShield for their best coverage ever. Call 800-471-1223. 800-471-1223. Go Jags!
At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, one taste and you're feeling good now, smiling wider now, seeing brighter now, bucket dunking now, namasteing now, popping a wheelie now, living lighter now. You're on Tropic Time now. And on Mondays, try our Jaguars Duval Delight Smoothies for $2.99. And you're roaring louder now, end zone dancing now, sipping spirit now. You're on Tropic Time now at Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
Jaguars fans, here's a great way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa debit card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Kessler Creative, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, has the print services you need for your business. Need large banners and signs for your next promotional event? How about custom boxes to advertise your company fleet? Find out for yourself how Kessler Creative can help you stand out from the competition with eye-catching designs that are sure to impress your customers. Kessler Creative, Jacksonville, Florida. Results-driven marketing and a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
It's Ford Truck Month. Now's the time to get a great deal on the only trucks built Ford tough. Work or play, get after it in a new Ford F-150 or Super Duty truck. Get a Ford Maverick or get after any adventure in a Ford Ranger pickup. Take advantage of our best offers on the full Ford lineup of trucks. But you better get going. These deals won't last. Get to Ford Truck Month. Some models, trims, and features may not be available or may be subject to change. See your local dealer for details.
Jacksonville Sports Talk for Jacksonville sports fans. 1010XL, home of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour. PRI Productions, the Southeast full-service event company, has everything you need to bring your next idea to life. Visit PRIProductions.com and learn more. J.P. Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. Jaguars Happy Hour continues. Coming up at 5 o'clock, it's the Doug Pederson Show. We'll hear from the Jaguars head coach and get his thoughts on everything going on around the Jags. That's coming up at 5 on the network.
A lot of quarterback conversation, questions, all swirling around after that game. Everybody's wondering
immediately after the game.
I know. I
did
heard.
You hear this on the post-game call-in show, the scoreboard show?
I actually heard some of that, and I did hear Mr. Fred Taylor talking about a story about one guy who used to be a goody two-shoes in the Legends community back in the day, who has kind of flipped roles with somebody who wasn't so goody two-shoes back in the day.
Life happens sometimes, right? I guess. I don't know how that works.
That was kind of a funny story, I got to say.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Fred,
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, if you listen, Fred, said that the other night too. All right, so it's time now for the injury
JP's
report.
moving on. He doesn't want to get blamed for sharing the story.
We're going to protect the innocent. Time for the injury report presented by Baptist Health and the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute, the official sports medicine provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars. The official injury report has come out within the last 4 minutes or so, 5 minutes.
What do you got?
Okay, Jaguars have 4 players on the list. It's the same 4 as Wednesday. Foley Fatukasi quadriceps, Devon Hamilton with a foot issue, Zay Jones with an ankle issue, and Foye Oluokun with a calf issue. All were limited yesterday. All were officially limited in practice today. So, no change in their status so far. The Colts have guys all over the place. A few of them are resting. They've got a couple concussion players. Actually, 3 concussion players on the list. We'll start with the biggest names first. And Ryan Kelly, the center with a hip issue, did not practice Wednesday, was limited today, Logs. Shaq Leonard has not practiced all week long. Jan was resting yesterday. Kwity Paye, defensive and ankle injury, did not practice yesterday or today.
And he supposedly has a high ankle, which is the same thing that Jonathan Taylor has been dealing with.
And Jonathan Taylor did not practice Wednesday. He was limited today.
And see, that limited designation can be such a tool. What I mean by a tool, what does limited mean? Okay,
Well, it means it's not full.
Exactly. It has a wide range of definitions, right? It can mean that the guy went out there on crutches and then did the couple drills on crutches, or it could mean that, oh, we're just putting him on there because we want to make you think that maybe this guy's a little nicked up and he's not. I mean, it's a mind game in a lot of ways. Because I mean they're you know how like when you're the old way of doing things, like doubtful, questionable, because questionable is considered 50-50, doubtful 75% chance the player won't play, probable is 25%, whether a player will play or not. So with a practice designation, there's no percentage put to what percentage of plays that a player did. So let's say he goes out there and he does stride and stretch, and then after that he does a little walkthrough period in practice. Well, that's limited. I mean, maybe physically the guy can't even run, but he can do those other drills, so that's limited. So you see my point?
Yeah. Well, I guess the other part, too, is, like, what else do you want them to say? Like, do you want them to give every detail of, this guy played 7 snaps of 11 on 11 with the first team in practice today, but then sat out periods 4, 5, and 6?
No, you don't need that much detail.
Yeah,
but my point is that if you're trying to make a determination whether or not a player is going to play or not on Sunday based on a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday practice designation or whatever you want to call it, you're not going to be able to figure that out, because they can say some things that maybe not be so accurate with a practice report. If a guy practices limited, what does that mean?
It means it wasn't full.
It means he didn't do something.
Right.
Maybe he didn't do just one play. Maybe he did 99% of them.
And
maybe he only did 1% of them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And so you can't kind of draw any inferences off of a practice report from Wednesday, Thursday. You got to just wait until game day. A lot of cases.
Well, that's it for the injury report presented by Baptist Health and the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute, the official sports medicine provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's why we need to do it.
The good thing is that the Jaguars are pretty healthy. Now, the significant loss is not on the injury report, and that's the loss of Ben Barch.
Yeah, Ben Barch done for the year. Knee issue. Tyler Shatley will get the nod to start at left guard this week.
That's a significant loss, because Ben Barch was playing well. He had been improving on a week-to-week basis, and I thought he was improved last year, but I thought that he's taken his game to another level this year, and it's a shame that he had the knee, whatever happened. A shame that he had the knee, just because he was making so much progress. But he'll be back next year, hopefully, with no lingering issue at all.
K'Lavon Chaisson also on injured reserve, but expected to be back. He's got to be on there at least 4 weeks before he can come back.
Yeah, and that hurts just because you lose a little bit of depth, but you have some depth there. Arden Key's a guy that plays some of what K'Lavon does on defense, but you're going to lose some packages. Maybe you can put some other players in that type of position, but you do lose K'Lavon on special teams, which
big there.
He's been a pretty good contributor on special teams. But, those glad to hear that he has a chance to get back, and disappointed for Ben Barch, and I hope that everything goes well. If he needs a surgery or whatever, I hope everything goes well, because it was fun to watch him improve week to week.
It is good to see Fatukasi getting at least a little bit of practice time. As we said, we don't see all of practice. You can't really – it says limited. That means he didn't do nothing. He did something.
Right.
That's a good step at least, and we'll see if he's available this week.
Well, and they've got they elevated when they made those 2 changes with the injured reserve players, with K'Lavon Chaisson going on injured reserve, and then also Ben Barch. They elevated Corey Peters to the active roster, who's the 13th-year player that they had on practice squad, and they elevated him this past Sunday, so he's brought up to the active roster, as well as an offensive lineman that was signed by the name of John Miller, who's been around the league about 8 years. So with the injury to Barch, obviously they're looking for maybe a little depth at guard, and that's what John Miller is going to be able to provide, and Shatley will do a good job. And I think it will be interesting to see what happens going forward. Will Shatley continue to be the left guard, where you maybe try, a Cole Van Lanen, who came into the process a little bit later when the Jaguars were practicing with the Atlanta Falcons? That's when he joined the team. Is he a guy that could maybe get some reps over there? Is John Miller a guy? I mean, there's a lot of different things that could happen there. Shatley's the perfect swing guy. And you hate to lose that on game day. And I'm not saying he's, that he can't be a starter, his best position is center to be a regular starter. I think he's a high-quality backup. I mean, like a high-quality backup on game day for center in the two-guard positions. But we'll have to wait and see kind of how they treat that position moving forward.
What kind of matchup does the Jaguars' offensive line have as a whole this week against the Indy front?
Well, Shatley's is going to have his hands full because they've got a guy by the name of DeForest Buckner who's pretty good, JP. Have you heard of him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very
he's
talented
pretty
player.
Good.
Yeah.
And
his length. He's got length.
He's got serious length. He's one of those 6'6", 6'7" defensive tackles that is strong. He had 2 sacks in the Broncos game, which was kind of his breakout game. You know, he's been close to kind of double digits every year, you know, then that 7-8 range of sacks every year. Good player against the run, good pass rusher because he's long and he can run. He's got movement. He's got power. He's one of the better interior defensive linemen that there is in the league. Really good player.
How'd they do against him week 2? You remember?
Did pretty good against him. I mean, he had his moments where he made some things happen, but the offense was so precise in that game about not allowing them to even have an impact on the quarterback just because the ball was coming out, you know, bang, 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 bang. No defensive lineman can, you know, get to a quarterback when the ball is coming out that quick. So, you know, run the ball well, get the ball out of the quarterback's hand pretty fast, and that was like the secret, I think, to neutralizing DeForest Buckner in that first matchup. But if you get into some situations to where you're not running the ball and you're predictable and you're in 3rd and long, to allow Ngakoue the pass rushing opportunities, and then also DeForest Buckner, Kwity Paye if he plays, that's not where you want to be. You know, the other defensive lineman in the middle, Grover Stewart's a good football player. You know, those 2 guys in the middle are pretty dang good. Two big, strong guys, good against the run. And, you know, Grover Stewart's not the big pass rush guy, but really, really good run stopper.
If you're looking for the MVP of the truck game, then look no further than Ford F-150. Loaded with impressive capability and designed to dominate work, play, and everything in between, this truck makes tough look easy. Your local Ford dealer, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll return with some final thoughts. And then at 5 o'clock, it's the Doug Pederson Show. We'll hear from the Jaguars head coach coming up ahead of this Week 6 matchup in the AFC South. The Jaguars and the Colts coming up Sunday. This is Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Thinking about your favorite whiskey or whiskey-based cocktail for this weekend's party or tailgate? Us too. While you're out shopping for supplies, don't forget to pick up a bottle of the 2022 Jaguars whiskey available at most local Jacksonville liquor stores. Not leaving the couch this weekend? No problem. You can also order a bottle online at citrusdistillersonline.com. Every bottle is made locally here in Duval.
The Land Rover Defender story began with the simple thought of creating an exceptionally capable off-road vehicle, becoming the go-anywhere, do-anything all-terrain machine. Today, there's a new Land Rover Defender, the toughest and most advanced Land Rover vehicle ever. From the beginning, Land Rover knew the new Defender was capable of great things. Motor Trend's 2021 SUV of the Year is just the latest example. Test drive the new Land Rover Defender today at Land Rover Jacksonville on Atlantic Boulevard, or go to LandRoverJacksonville.com. Land Rover, above and beyond.
Hey, I'm driving. I joined the new Dunkin' Rewards program, and today's the day I'm going to use my points on a medium iced latte and a couple of chocolate frosted donuts.
Here you go, and thanks for being a rewards member.
And now I'm using those chocolate frosted donuts, kids, to get a few sweet, sweet, blissful minutes of beautiful relief from the never-ending onslaught of backseat bickering.
Join new Dunkin' Rewards today. Join new Dunkin' Rewards today. Save them, stack them, use them how you want. America runs on Dunkin'. Terms apply.
Headquartered in Jacksonville, Florida, CSI Companies partners with leading organizations across the country to deliver workforce solutions. As a proud sponsor of your Jacksonville Jaguars, CSI crafts personalized operations to fuel the success of businesses, both big and small. Whether it's finding the right talent for a job or seamlessly managing a project from start to finish, CSI has over 3 decades of experience in getting the job done. This is your workforce solutions reimagined. Visit CSICompanies.com.
Your hometown gate now has more ways to save. Introducing My Gate Rewards, a new loyalty program with member-exclusive savings and fuel discounts. Earn points on in-store purchases, take advantage of special offers, and save on products you love. Score free coffee, fountain drinks, pizza, and soft serve with Gate's frequent shopper clubs. Then use your points on savings at the pump. Download the My Gate Rewards app in the App Store today or ask a store associate for more information. Go from good to Gate.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at TIAA Bank Field because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Bono's is currently expanding its brand with franchise opportunities throughout the Southeast and beyond. Over 70 years of authentic Southern pit barbecue and owning your own business are a great combo. Go to bonosbarbq.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
The station that the Jaguars listen to, 1010XL. Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
It's Jaguars Happy Hour. It's Thursday. It's Week 6. And if you're watching on Jaguars.com or Jaguars social media, a live look at the Miller Electric Center outside TIAA Bank Field under construction. And it continues day by day. You drive in the morning, they're starting something. You drive out in the afternoon, it's finished. They're moving on. It's called construction. That's how it works. And it should be open for business by training camp of next year. And boy, will it be nice.
Oh, it's going to be.
Oh,
really nice.
So nice. That's Jeff Lageman. I'm J.P. Shadrick, Joe Fortunato, Brent Reber. Coming up at 5 o'clock, it is the Doug Pederson Show. We'll hear from the Jaguars head coach coming up ahead of this matchup. And, I'm curious, his thoughts, emotions about what's going on with the offense right now in the red zone especially. They have struggled down in that area. I think they're 23rd in the league in the red zone this year. They were 0 for last week. The turnovers, 7 of those, as you mentioned, the last 2 weeks, and losses all from the quarterback. And with an offense that goes through the quarterback, they're going to be a pass-first team. The quarterback's got to play better overall. I'm curious what Doug has to say about that.
Yeah, I did. And Doug, it's kind of a situation, I think, as a head coach to where you want to make sure you address it, but you don't want to just sit there and constantly talk about the quarterback because that doesn't serve you the best situation to be put. Because here's what I mean, JP. If you're talking about the quarterback all the time being the issue, what are you doing to his psyche?
Right.
Because that's not the only issue. So, I mean, you have to be able to, as a coach, to be able to spread responsibility and accountability around to your football team. And that accountability also gets spread into the coaching staff. How can we do things better as a coaching staff? And I'm sure that Doug is looking at all of that. Doug's been around the block before, and that's, I think, the great thing about having a head coach like Doug in place is that this is not his first rodeo. He's been there. He's done that. He's dealt with a lot of these things before, and he knows how to deal with them moving forward. And that's, I think, a real positive. And he's worked with quarterbacks. He played the position. He understands what it is and how hard it is to play that position. And I think he will handle this situation with this team in a very positive way.
As we said at the start of the show, it's a team that still has everything out in front of them, of course. It's Week 6, and there's a lot of football left ahead. But a win against Indy on the road would be all of a sudden 2-1 in the division. 2-1 in the division, 3-3 overall. One more game against the Texans coming up later, and then 2 Titans matchups late in the season. Those are down the road a bit. But if you get another one in your back pocket here, then you're in pretty good shape in the division, at least right now.
You want to get back to gaining a little bit of a swagger back as a football team, gaining some confidence because you've got some really tough games coming up. I said this last week, and that when you were playing the Texans or getting ready to play the Texans, you want to win the winnable games, and that was a winnable game that they had here Sunday. Well, this is a game I think I don't want to say it's a game that they should win because I don't like to use that terminology. Is this game a winnable game? Well, this is a winnable game, but it's at the Colts' place where they have had very good luck. This has been kind of a home team's advantage matchup. Jaguars having won, I think, out of 8 consecutive here.
It's been a while.
In Jacksonville.
Yep.
And the Colts have won 4 consecutive in Indianapolis, and I think 8 of the last 9 in Indianapolis. So this is not going to be an easy game. Frank Reich does a great job of pulling his team together after tough starts. If you look at the last 2 years, it's kind of gone down that way, and then they get on a roll. And what I think concerns me the most is that you have a veteran quarterback who has been there. The offensive line with the Colts has not played well. But the Jaguars' pass rush, I think I've got some concerns with. The pass rush hasn't been as good as you would like it to be. It's been kind of quiet. And if you go quiet against Matt Ryan, he's been around too long to not be able to do some damage to your defense. That, to me, is a critical part to this ball game, is making sure that you do a great job stopping their run, whoever is running the ball, and then you've got to find a way to affect Matt Ryan because you haven't been affecting the quarterback as much as you should be doing.
They've discussed it, the head coach, of course, players in the locker room, that a lot of the issues are self-inflicted issues, the fumbles, the missing gaps on run defense occasionally.
Yeah, but rushing the passer is not self-inflicted.
I know. I'm moving
forward.
I
know you're moving forward, but I just want to make a point of that, that's not a matter of okay, that's an easy fix. That's a matter of, hey, look, we got to start winning some one-on-ones.
You're right.
You always want to fix the fixable things, but then there comes a point, okay, now that you fix the fixable things, now you have to beat men. Okay, you have to beat somebody. You got to beat an individual, and that becomes the challenge. You got to see Trayvon Walker have more of an impact. The first game in Washington, I had a tremendous game. Gotten a little bit quiet since then. Josh Allen, I thought this past game was a little quiet. And he's got to start having more of an impact. Where's the impact on the interior rush overall? They need to start having an impact. So it's got to be good this week, especially because this is a quarterback that you can affect him in a big way because he doesn't have the physical things that he used to have. I mean, I'm not trying to say he's an old man, but
well, he is.
He's getting up there, JP, and he doesn't move like he used to.
Right.
Kind of like I don't move like I used to anymore.
I certainly don't either. That's for sure.
Yeah, I know. That's for sure. Yeah, you're young.
Yeah, I was talking about you, though.
No, I was talking about you.
I'm talking about you. Tonight on television, Jaguars All Access live from Strings Brewery in Springfield on Fox 30, 7 o'clock. Josh Allen is the regular co-host.
I'll be there.
You and, Brent Martineau, you might have heard of him.
Yeah.
And then who's the special guest tonight?
Devin Lloyd.
All right.
Yeah.
Great show.
Have Devin Lloyd, who was the NFL Rookie Defensive Player for the month of September and is a strong candidate, in my opinion, and will be a strong candidate for the NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year. This guy is really good. Now, he had a couple missed tackles last week, but I will say that he gets around the ball effortlessly. And when I say effortlessly, it requires effort. But he's just so smooth. And he's so consistent, and he's so athletic. He does things that are just fun to watch, and he's a good one now. He's a really good player.
Always around the ball, always has his hands on the ball, it feels like. He had that at Utah. That was his MO in college.
I think he ended up getting credited for 11 tackles in that game against the Texans.
Mm-hmm.
But yet he had, I think, 5 missed tackles.
Wow.
So think about that. If he makes all those tackles, let's say all of a sudden he just transformed into Bobby Wagner and doesn't miss any of those tackles, he's got 16 tackles in a game. That's impressive now. So, that's something that he needs to clean up, which I'm sure he knows that because he's a have you had a chance to visit with him yet?
I have,
and what I love about him is that he is very aware. He is a student of the game from talking to the coaches, and they love his work ethic. And, and remember, the guy missed all of the preseason.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, he missed everything but the Atlanta week.
And he was the only one out there, the starters.
Out of all the starters, he was the only one that played in that preseason game.
Yeah.
But he missed all of camp until they went to Flowery Branch to practice the Falcons, and that's when he started to practice full. Played in that game, and it was a starter from the get-go, and he's been good, really good.
I look forward to that tonight on Jaguars All Access Television. Get down to Strings. That's a good time. If you've never been to a show in person, go check it out. Food's fantastic, of course. The beer flows, and it's quite a scene.
Not for me, JP.
No, you're working.
Not for me.
You're working.
Not for me. They got a lot of people like the food there. I like the food there. Got good cold beer. Just wish it wasn't working. Hey, why don't you come and sit in for me tonight, and I'll drink beer and watch
I'll
you.
just come down and drink beer and watch you. That's what I'll do. How about that? All right, so how are you feeling about this game? It's a divisional matchup.
Nervous.
Are you nervous?
Yeah,
really?
nervous.
Why?
Because of Matt Ryan.
Because of Matt Ryan, you're nervous.
Yeah.
You're not nervous because the Jags' offense has been a little shaky the last couple of weeks?
That's part of it. But you've turned the ball over a lot. They've turned the ball over a lot recently. You've got, Matt, I think you've got two of the top three quarterbacks in giveaways in the National Football League this week. So which quarterback kind of cleans that up? And Matt Ryan's got an offensive line that's struggling. The Jaguars' offensive line, on the other hand, I thought played pretty well this past game. Now, it was against the Texans' defensive front that I wouldn't say is one of the best in the league now. And you heard me talking about that last week, said that their front seven's not great.
Right, but they're still an NFL defensive front.
They are,
fine.
And the Jaguars' offensive line did pretty good. So can Trevor get the same time in Indianapolis that he was getting this past game so that he can work his things out? And will Matt Ryan get better protection so that he can figure some things out with their passing game? This is a game that I hate to say that which quarterback bounces back after the subpar performance of last week, because Matt Ryan had a subpar performance and then Trevor Lawrence had a subpar performance. Which one bounces back? Whichever one does will lead their team to victory.
How many points will it take to win this game?
Probably 20, 23. I think 23 would be it.
Seems right. Seems about right.
And defensively, Gus Bradley's got a good defense over there. They're playing solid. They keep their eyes back to the quarterback. Stephon Gilmore has been really good. Was a hero last Thursday night. Had a pass breakup and then one interception, one pass breakup, or two pass breakups? He had an interception and a pass breakup to end the game.
Pretty good day.
He's been pretty good.
He's a good player.
Big challenge. Big challenge.
All right, so the Jaguars and the Indianapolis Colts coming up from Lucas Oil Stadium coming up in a couple of minutes. It's the Doug Pederson Show. We'll hear from the Jaguars head coach. We're going to go to social media, as we always do, and get a question for the coach. And for you a little later in that show, Logs. We're going to go to the social media again.
Okay.
Like we did last week.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm good with that. You know what I'm looking forward to this week too, JP?
What?
Indianapolis has got a good steakhouse.
There's a few, yes.
Yeah, I'm going to see. I'm probably going to go visit one of them.
Yeah. Shrimp cocktail.
I'll send you pictures.
Great. Just what I need. More pictures of your food. Awesome. Just what I was missing. I'll look forward to that.
I'll send you a close-up picture of the shrimp cocktail.
Mm-hmm. I was up there a few weeks ago for a Purdue game, so I got to stop in there.
Did you eat?
I did.
All right.
Very well. Thank you.
All right. Good.
All right, that'll do it for Jaguars Happy Hour. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching on Jaguars.com. The Jaguars at 2-3 headed up to Indy with a 1-1 divisional record. Big matchup, the final matchup of the year against the Colts for the Jaguars. Coming up in just a few moments, it's the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network. Thank you for listening to Jaguars Happy Hour on Jaguars Radio.
Welcome to the Doug Pederson Show, brought to you by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles. J.P. Shadrick and former Jaguar Jeff Lageman discuss the latest Jaguars news with the head coach. The Doug Pederson Show starts right now.
Welcome in the Doug Pederson Show. It's week 6. The Jaguars facing the Indianapolis Colts at Lucas Oil Stadium this Sunday. J.P. Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, and Jaguars head coach Doug Pederson. Here we are, trying to get back on track, going on the road in the AFC South.
Yeah, you know, it's you're absolutely right. We got to get back on track. Road game, hostile environment in a dome. You know, we're hoping that the roof is open and maybe the two ends are open and kind of knock down some of that noise. But this is a great place to play. Going to be a different football team that we're going to see, obviously, from a couple of weeks ago. And I know Coach Reich will have them ready to go.
How different is that, you know, when you play a division opponent, because obviously you play them twice in a year, and the turnaround is so quick? I mean, 2 weeks between each game. I mean, how much of a challenge is that for a coach, but then also to get the players' minds right to play an opponent that you know, but you want to make sure you treat them like you don't know them?
Yeah, it's hard. You know, but you just got to go into it and just really have an open mind. You kind of clear the slate. You look back on that first game, and obviously there's some things we can take away, you know, from it from a schematic standpoint. But at the same time, we understand too that, you know, we're into week 6. We've got 5 weeks to tape. They've got 5 weeks to tape out there. By now, we're not going to trick anybody, you know, unless there's something unscouted. But for the most part, we've got so much data and so much information available, you know, to us that it's just going to come down to execution and knowing our jobs and our assignments, obviously, and just preparing. You know, it's an AFC South opponent. We're sitting here 1-1. We're trying to get to 2-1 in the division, and you know, it's a great opportunity for us.
Yeah, as a player, I always remember the point to where I felt like, don't treat this game like I know the guy I'm playing. You know, kind of treat it like I don't know him. So do you tell the players kind of that mindset when they're studying film? Because a lot of film study is with coaches, but a lot of it's on their own.
Well, that's the thing about it is you want the players to study their technique, their fundamentals, and how, you know, how a D lineman or a particular maybe edge rusher rushes the passer, or if it's on defense, how an offensive tackle, maybe his feet, or you know, the way he pass sets, different run schemes, even studying formation. So you try not to get too familiar with the actual guy, but understanding his technique and what they're trying to get done within the, you know, sort of the confines of the particular play.
Head coach Doug Pederson with us. Quarterback play, Trevor Lawrence. A couple weeks ago, we know about the turnovers in Philly, and then this past week in the red zone, the interception. You know, you have to have some balance of patience, but still pressing to try to get this thing right. And where are you with the quarterback right now?
Well, you know, listen, we all understand, and I'm not going to, you know, even with the quarterback, you know, spend a lot of time just harping on the negative. You know, we understand we can't turn the ball over. That's just the flat out, plain and simple. We can't do it. Our job is to make sure that you know, we're putting him in positions to not do that and to be successful and obviously learn from it. But, you know, he's really in a good spot. He does a great job of just kind of flushing everything, moving on, moving past, diving into the next week's opponent, the game plan, and really going out to practice to try to, number one, make himself better, and obviously to help our football team win. So, you know, we're going to continue to sort of educate him on a lot of these things, and he's learning every single week, you know, about this football game and just showing us that he's very capable of doing the things that he's, you know, he did earlier in the season.
Kind of goes back to what we talked about last week a little bit, that mental toughness, right? I mean, that comes with the position. You got to have the toughness to work through moments like this.
You do, especially the quarterback position, you know, because so much is thrown at you. Not so much just on the field, but off the field as well, different obligations and things that come with it. You know, and then just running the whole show, you know, and calling the play in the huddle, getting to the line of scrimmage, deciphering the code on defense, going with, you know, to the right place with the football or making a run check. There's just a lot of stuff that we put on our quarterback, and he's been able to handle that, you know, really well. And we do try to keep it as simple as we can, and not so much just for him. We do have some other young players, you know, playing on offense, but making sure that the offense can execute and play fast and play at a high level.
How important is it, because on your staff you have a lot of guys that played the game, And as a coach, to be able to share maybe your experience that you had, and I'm not talking about just with Trevor, I'm talking about with anybody, because you have a lot of different coaches that played a lot of different positions. But to have the ability to share a previous experience a coach may have had with a young player on your team.
Oh, I think it's kind of critical. I think it just kind of, I think, helps the player sort of see it through our eyes, right? As because we've been there, right? And we've been there, kind of done that. And for me, I can share stories from my days in Miami with Dan Marino, or my days in Green Bay with Brett Favre, or wherever it might. Philadelphia, played a year there with Donovan McNabb and the career that he had, and just be able to share those experiences, with Trevor and kind of show him what it's like, and bring him along. And one thing that coaches, sometimes we go and we sort of assume that they know everything, right? Or they know, they should know this, or they should know that. And we can't do that, So, we've got to be able to, use these stories and use these sort of experiences that, the coaches I have who have played in this game, use it to the best of their ability to help show the players, just how they did it, how they can relate to certain situations, but at the same time, now that we're coaches, making sure that we have, all the answers, for the questions that they have.
Your defense had one heck of an outing against the Colts the last time, got the shutout, and impressive performance. This defense that you guys have, from what I can tell, if they do great against the run, this is a really good defense. If they don't do great against the run, it's a good defense, but, boy, it's not as good.
It's not as good. You're right. And the thing, I think what happens is if we're not good against the run, it opens up so much play action pass, and it opens up that second level. And now you're kind of in that guessing game, with an offense. And so, we pride ourselves, our defense prides themselves on stopping the run. We're up against a good rushing football team, historically been a good rushing football team as of late. They got their work cut out for them. If we can at least slow the rush down, getting after the quarterback, getting after, Matt Ryan, now becomes the focal point, with our defense. And it's really a violent sort of physical attack that they have, when they rush the passer.
And Matt Ryan is not the most I'm not trying to criticize him, but, I mean, look, where he's going to be. Because he's an older guy. He's an older quarterback. He's always been a pocket guy, and he's definitely a pocket guy now.
He is, and we've seen here in the last couple of weeks too, he's been able to make some great throws from the pocket, and he still has that ability to do that. He'll always elude. There's always that one, play a game where he can elude the rush and make a play down the field. But you're right, though. You kind of know where he's at. He does a great job, though, of just managing the line of scrimmage, changing protection, getting the ball out of his hand when he can. And he can still beat you through the air.
All right. Coach, let's go to the Microsoft Surface for a social media question. And this is from @AngelBladden1. Do players ever come to you with ideas for game planning?
That's a great question. From time to time they do. We actually lean on our quarterback a little bit sometimes just to see what he's seeing, early in the week. And if he has any thoughts or ideas that we might be able to, implicate and really put into, our game plan. So we listen to our guys, but at the same time, we kind of, I want to say we take it with a grain of salt. But, we honestly, though, we do want their involvement, because they're the ones out there playing. They see the game a certain way. We also want them to see the game how we as coaches see it. But taking a play from time to time is not bad, and if we can put it to use, we will.
There's some players, though, that when they talk, coaches listen, and they should. And there's some players that you just appreciate it. Thank you for the advice.
That's right. That's
okay,
true.
Let's get back and learn your play.
Exactly right. Stay in your playbook.
Exactly. Stay in your lane.
Exactly.
Right. Final thought here, Coach. Hey, division game on the road, trying to bounce back. You mentioned it earlier. If a win this week, 2-1 in the division, 3-3 overall, everything's still out in front for this team.
Exactly right, JP. And that's the thing. From my standpoint as the head coach, is just keeping these goals right in front of our team and letting them know and kind of see exactly where we are. What's in front of us, and it's gonna be a great game. On Sunday, and really looking forward to. This opportunity, again, a division opponent, second time around. I definitely think it's going to be a different
of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Na 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 na
It's Ford Truck Month. Now's the time to get a great deal on the only trucks built Ford tough. Work or play, get after it in a new Ford F-150 or Super Duty truck. Get a Ford Maverick or get after any adventure in a Ford Ranger pickup. Take advantage of our best offers on the full Ford lineup of trucks. But you better get going. These deals won't last. Get to Ford Truck Month. Some models, trims, and features may not be available or may be subject to change. See your local dealer for details.
Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com. The world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com. Officially licensed everything.
Jags fans, sign up for ESPN Plus to see Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars take on Russell Wilson and the Broncos across the pond at London's Wembley Stadium Sunday, October 30th. ESPN Plus gives you access to nonstop NFL action all season long with live games, originals, highlights, and more. After you sign up, be sure to log into your device with your ESPN account to stream on your TV and other devices. Visit ESPNplus.com/NFL for more details.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
And welcome back. J.P. Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. Our thanks to head coach Doug Pederson joining us on the Doug Pederson Show, the opening segment every Thursday afternoon. The Jaguars and the Indianapolis Colts in the AFC South coming up 1 o'clock Sunday at Lucas Oil Stadium in downtown Indy. Well, Coach seems to be in pretty good spirits. The Jags have dropped a couple in a row, but that's an even-keeled head coach. He has been at this for a long time. He understands that it's a marathon, but there are certain things that they need to start improving upon, certainly on the offensive side.
Well, I think the thing that I'm encouraged about is that, we've seen in past years with a Jaguars offense to where you go, gosh, the wide receivers just aren't getting open. There's, why aren't they making any plays? But when you watch this team, there are many instances where you go, gosh, there it was.
He was wide open and he missed it.
Well, there was maybe an open guy or that, maybe there was just a drop or there was something that they did to make sure that the play didn't go off as planned. So, in other words, there's opportunities there. And if this offense can consistently, because they did take advantage of some of those opportunities in the 2 wins, Chargers, they played well. First time around against the Colts, they played well. If they can get back to, I don't want to say not beating themselves, but making the plays that are there, and then also not having the negative plays that impact them in a negative way. And then they have 3 commandments on offense. And I write this down on my game board for the broadcast every week because that's something that they hold near and dear to their game plan and their success. And the offensive commandments are protect the ball. Okay? Number 2, create explosives. Number 3, be good in situational offenses. Okay? If you look at the 3 commandments, they haven't protected the ball the last couple games. Okay? They have not created a lot of explosives. And they should have been able to create more against a Texans team that had been giving up more than anybody else in the league. And then the last one, be a great situational offense. Okay, 3rd down, red zone, goal line, short yardage, 4th and 1.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, those are situations. And 0 for 3 in the red zone, and then you got a red zone turnover. 4th and 1 late in the game. Okay, you got a couple of them, I think. They were 0 for 2 on 4th down in that game, I believe.
They were.
Or 0 for 3, actually, because it had the last play of the game, which I was kind of taking out in my mind. But it counts. Those things are the things that matter. And when they start doing better in some of these categories, they will be better as a team. And defensively, I think that they need to get back to being dominant up front, which is what they were in the 2 games. Not so much the last 2 games. Get back to taking the ball away. That's what they're really good at in the wins. Weren't great in the last couple of weeks at that. And then they've got to rush the passer better. That's going to be a big thing for me watching them going forward. They've got to find a way to get more pressure, especially against a guy that you know that you can impact, like a Matt Ryan, because they're having some questions and issues with their Colts offensive line, and he's not a very athletic guy.
He's old and slow, is what you're trying to say.
trying to
be
nice.
a straight shooter, man.
I'm being nice, JP.
Nah, this is the NFL.
Why I'm being respectful, JP, is because this guy's been around a long time.
He has, yes, of course.
And when you got a guy that's been around for a long time, they still can have moments. And I don't think I wouldn't have signed Matt Ryan in free agency, but I still think he has moments left, and you just don't want him to have a moment against you.
He is a former MVP. I mean, he won that once, got him to the Super Bowl in Atlanta, and yes, so he has a lengthy career in the NFL.
Now, I was looking at his numbers, and I mean, first of all, it's kind of funny that Trevor was 8 years old when he was drafted.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, that's
right.
funny.
Yeah.
But looking at his career numbers, I mean, he's gotten 61,111 yards passing. I mean, that's insane. 372 touchdown passes, 177 interceptions, career 65.6% completion rate. But the reality is this year, he's lost 3 fumbles and he's thrown 7 interceptions, and he's been sacked 21 times. Those are the numbers that you need to take advantage of for the now living in the moment Matt Ryan.
His passing yardage is 8th on the all-time list in the NFL. Been at it for a long, long time.
And he's still got some more years probably left in him. You know, when they signed
Not
him,
if they sack him 50 times.
I know, but the expectation for him was they were thinking that they would have Matt Ryan for the next 2-3 years. You know, not just a guy that's going to play for 1 year and then they're going to go draft a guy. But unless they fix their offensive line, they may have to find another quarterback.
We'll take a timeout. When we come back, we'll get into the Jaguars' offensive line, a season-ending injury to one of the starters and some changes there. And this offense as a whole facing the Indianapolis Colts this Sunday in week number 6. This is the Doug Pederson Show on Jaguars Radio.
On the road, there's a thin line between safety and tragedy. Don't cross it. Give law enforcement, first responders, and service professionals the space to safely do their jobs. When you see flashing lights, move over a lane or slow down 20 miles per hour below the posted speed limit. See lights? Move over, Florida. Brought to you by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles and the Florida Highway Patrol.
At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, one taste and you're feeling good now, smiling wider now, seeing brighter now, bucket dunking now, namasteing now, popping a wheelie now, living lighter now. You're on Tropic Time now. And on Mondays, try our Jaguars Duval Delight Smoothies for $2.99. And you're roaring louder now, end zone dancing now, sipping spirit now. You're on Tropic Time now at Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
Your pet means the world to you, so Pet Paradise created a slice of paradise just for them. Pet Paradise is your complete pet health care destination with resort-style day camp, overnight boarding, professional grooming, and compassionate veterinary care from New Day, all located under one roof. Pet Paradise has over 50 locations to serve pet fanatics like you nationwide. Book today at petparadise.com, the official pet care provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Cancer patients across the Southeast make Baptist MD Anderson Cancer Center in Jacksonville their first choice for treatment. Dr. Jonathan Milquist explains why.
We have so many resources that can help a patient from the very onset, and we just have a degree of unity and cohesive care that is hard to match. It's especially with the tougher cancers that we really excel.
Appointments available now. Call 844-632-2278.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
Welcome back to the Doug Pederson Show. J.P. Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. The Jaguars facing the Indianapolis Colts in Week 6 at Lucas Oil Stadium. It's a 1:02 official kickoff time from downtown Indy. We'll go on the air on the network Sunday at 12 o'clock with Countdown to Kickoff. We'll hear from Jaguars outside linebacker Josh Allen from the locker room this week. We'll hear from Andrew Catalan of CBS Sports. Our first time with Andrew and James Lofton on the call on CBS this week. We'll get his thoughts on some of the issues around the Jags right now.
Have you ever talked to James Lofton, by the way?
I have, yes.
Yeah, he's sharp.
Yeah, good guy.
Yeah, he is a joy to talk to, and his perspective is really good, I think, on the NFL, and always one of my favorite TV analysts that I get a chance to talk to.
Hall of Famer.
Yeah. His did you ever see his Hall of Fame speech?
I did not. I need to go check that out.
If you ever get a chance, seriously, he had one of the best Hall of Fame speeches I've ever seen. And I can't remember how many years ago that it was when he was inducted, but that speech is worthy of watching at any time. It was outstanding.
Wow.
And I try to watch them all, every year I try to. I mean, sometimes some years I might have missed, but he's the one speech that really sticks me, that through over the years, it's just stuck in my mind, and how good that was.
Class of 2003.
Yeah.
James Lofton.
Yeah, when you get a chance, watch it, JP, you'll enjoy it.
8 Pro Bowls, 14,000 receiving yards, 16 seasons.
He had and what were the years that he played in the teams, real quick?
Like 78 was his rookie year. He was a draft pick in 1978. Let's see.
He played a long time.
He played for a long time. So he played 16 seasons with the Packers, the Raiders, the Bills, Rams, and Eagles.
Packers, Raiders, Bills. What year was he with the Bills?
89 to 92.
Okay, so those are the years that I was with the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the K-Gun era. When they added him, that gave Jim Kelly and the K-Gun the vertical threat that they really needed, because they had Andre Reed, who was their slot guy underneath and so dangerous. And then James was the speed, and Thurman, obviously. Mm-hmm. Pete Metzlar's the tight end, blocking big man. And they had Don Beebe.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, they were formidable now, but James was the one that made that offense scary, just because
he could go. Gone.
He could go.
Wow.
And like nobody's business go.
So the Jaguars are facing the Colts this week, of course. Jaguars offensive line. We've talked a lot about the Colts offensive line tonight. The Jaguars offensive line had a change this week. Ben Bartch done for the year with a knee issue. He's out. Tyler Shatley gets the nod at left guard this week. He filled in when Bartch was hurt in the game this past week against the Texans. A veteran player, obviously, in situations like this. He's made a career on being a backup swing interior offensive lineman, Shatley.
Well, that's why you keep him. I mean, that's why they've kept him around. I mean, he's created competition for you at center and throughout the offseason, and then once you got to camp, you decided – to go full steam ahead with Luke Fortner, your draft pick, and I understand that. And the great thing about Shatley is that he's been extremely durable in his career. He's been dependable, reliable, and those are all the traits that you look for in an offensive lineman, particularly a backup offensive lineman. And that's the beauty of Shatley. I mean, think of all those years that he was a backup, how many times he had to come in because Brandon Linder got hurt. Which Linder got hurt
a lot, yeah,
quite a bit,
yeah.
And so Shatley played very well. I always thought that he could play and be a starting caliber center, and that's, I think, his best position is center. And when he played in the other game, the offense still continued to do very well, and that's what you're looking for. Now, will he be the long-term answer at guard? I don't know the answer to that, but we'll see what happens. But first and foremost, boy, what a tough situation for Ben Bartch. I don't know exactly what happened to his knee, but what a shame. He had been getting better and better every week. His performances, in fact, let's pull him up right now, JP.
Oh, boy.
We got PFF right here.
Pro Football Focus. Jeff Lageman is a
We're going to take a look. I like it. I mean, some of their stuff is not great, but some of it's pretty good. Sheriff's up there. He's around 19. And they got Ben Barch at 36, which is, look, he's getting better and better. And that's the thing. When you look at his week-to-week grades, his grades have gotten better every week he's been climbing. And that's the thing that you like to see with a young player continuing to get better. So, a shame for him, but he'll be back. And when he comes back, I look forward to watching him again and watching him continue to get better. He's a big, strong guy. Big, strong guy. The one thing that he was working on and getting better at was not getting so over his toes, so to speak, as an offensive lineman, which means kind of being a little bit overly aggressive. And he's been doing a much better job of that this year.
The battle this week, DeForest Buckner up front for Indy, kind of leads the charge there.
Yeah, he's good. And what's so challenging is that when you have those guys, because a lot of times defensive tackles are shorter, they're powerhouses, the spark plugs, the fire hydrant guys, but Buckner is built like an end. He's got length, 6'7", 295 pounds. His sleeve length is probably like 39, 40. I mean, it's got to be somewhere in that. And have you seen him up close? Did you get a chance to see him when he was here?
No, I did not.
This guy is like a Greek god. I mean, he's sculpted. I mean, a lot of times the defensive tackles aren't exactly the picture of fitness. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to say that they all have to look like John Yurkovic, but which is going back in the old days of the Jaguars, which, John had a pretty bad body. But this guy looks like he could be a part-time bodybuilder in the offseason. I mean, he's carved. And but he's athletic, he's strong, he's a good pass rusher, he plays the run well. He's a tough guy to deal with now. And for a Gus Bradley defense, which they love to have a true three-technique tackle, which the three-technique tackle means that it's very hard to get a double team on him because you're putting linemen close by him on either side. That's a good fit for Buckner. It's a good defense for Buckner to be in.
I'm looking at some of Buckner's
47 career sacks.
Well, combine results, right? Arm length 34.3, but his wingspan's 82 inches. From
82 inches.
I don't know. I'm bad at math, but
I wonder what mine. What do you think mine?
I don't think it's that.
We got a tape measure in here, Joe.
We'll have to find one during the break. I don't think we do. It will be a challenge this week, certainly. Let's see if the Jaguars can step up and get back on track on the offensive side. We're back in a moment, though, Logs, and we'll get into this Jaguars defense a little bit more. Trying to get back to taking the football away. They did a good job of this in week 2 against the Colts.
They need it. Matt Ryan has been a turnover machine lately. Got to keep that rolling for him.
That would be nice. It's the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.
It's football season, and time to take your game to the next level with a Ford F-150 truck. Light up your tailgate with an available Pro Power onboard generator. And with an available 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine, you can tow just about anything you need to rule the stadium lot. Ford F-150, part of the F-Series lineup that have been the best-selling pickups for 45 straight years. Get to your local Ford store today. Proud sponsor of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Jaguars fans, here's a great way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa debit card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hey, I'm driving. I joined the new Dunkin' Rewards program, and today's the day I'm going to use my points on a medium iced latte and a couple of chocolate frosted donuts.
Here you go, and thanks for being a rewards member.
And now I'm using those chocolate frosted donuts, kids, to get a few sweet, blissful minutes of beautiful relief from the never-ending onslaught of backseat bickering.
Join new Dunkin' Rewards today. Oh, sorry. Join new Dunkin' Rewards today. Save them, stack them, use them how you want. America runs on Dunkin'. Terms apply.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
And welcome back. J.P. Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. Our thanks to head coach Doug Pederson, who joins us in the first segment each and every Thursday evening here on the Jaguars Radio Network. Glad you're along with us. The Jaguars and the Colts coming up. Thanks for everyone watching on Jaguars.com, Jaguars Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube as well. Joe Fortunato on the audio side, Brent Reber on the video side, and hey, a divisional game coming up.
We gotta finish the conversation about Wingspan. We broke out the research in the commercial break.
Our crack research department during the break went deep.
We went deep,
and we mentioned the wingspan of DeForest Buckner was what 82 inches.
82 inches,
which is what 6 foot.
That's actually 6 feet 10 inches.
Okay. I'm bad at math.
Yes, you are.
And I just thought about it. I'm like,
we have a tape measure.
I remember.
All right.
I remember.
Come on.
I was just thinking about basketball players, right? That's obviously a thing for basketball players.
Because
Michael Jordan
playing defense, wingspan. Yeah.
Right. So Michael Jordan's wingspan was 6'11". So that would have been 84 inches. Right?
No, that's 83 inches.
Thank you.
Yeah, 83 inches. So DeForest Buckner is just 1 inch shy of the wingspan of Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And he's a football player.
Right. He's a really big football player, but yes.
And here's what you'd like to measure. If you measure the girth of the arms of DeForest Buckner versus Jordan's, it would be you could probably fit maybe 3 of Jordan's arms in a Buckner arm.
Right. Because Jordan was what, 215, 218?
I don't know what he weighed.
I think he was 218
I don't know what he weighed. But yeah, you probably could fit 3 of them in there. I mean, Buckner's big dude.
Yeah. So that's the challenge, of course.
There's not a lot of people in the league when you, at least from my experience, where you go on the field and you look at him and you go, good Lord, look at the size of that guy.
Because it is a league full of large humans.
Look, and I'm pretty good sized myself.
Yeah.
And I've been around guys that have been big in football forever, right? The one guy that really stands out, that's the biggest of them all, is Jordan Mailata, the tackle for the Eagles.
Yeah.
Guy is huge.
That's the old rugby player, right?
Well, he's an NFL player
but
now.
he played rugby.
Yeah, used to. Yeah. And DeForest Buckner would be another one.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anybody that's really
Vince Wilfork was that for me. When I first saw Vince, he was just large. One of the largest people I've seen on a football field, just round.
And
not remember the nose tackle for the Packers in the 90s.
What was his name?
Oh gosh, he was like 400 pounds.
And he was so unhealthy looking.
Gilbert was his name.
That was his first
Gilbert
name.
Brown.
Gilbert Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was
massive.
I hope he's lost some weight.
Gosh, I hope so too.
Poor guy.
He played a long time.
Yeah, he's a good player.
25 games. He was 340, 6'2", 340.
Yeah, that's pretty wide.
But
offensive lineman wise, when you stand next to some guys are just like, wow. You're like, oh, like Baselli. When Baselli got here, I was like, oh my God, look at the size of this young guy. Because he's just naturally big. Yeah. I mean, even his head's big. Just big.
Still is.
Big features.
Yeah.
And some guys have that. And some guys, I remember Mike Pearson, who was the tackle that we had drafted from Florida, was a second-round pick, comes here, and when he walked in the door, you're like, he's an offensive tackle, but you can tell he's not naturally big. He's a guy that's pumped. He has to, if he weighs 300 pounds, he's got to eat. And he's kind of not naturally big. Cam Robinson's another guy. I mean, just naturally a big frame dude. And I think if Sheriff's got big frame on him.
Yes.
I mean, naturally, he's 325 pounds, and you look at him and you go, he looks proportioned, and, he looks like he's not 325 pounds.
That's right.
But he's a big dude.
Let's come back. We'll get into the quarterback play as of late for the Jaguars and maybe a little running game talk, too. That's been a topic of discussion.
I think we're going to see maybe a little different action there.
Oh.
This week.
Oh. We'll get
into that. Little different.
Okay.
Not vastly, but a little different.
Very little. It's the Doug Pederson Show on Jaguars Radio.
On the road, there's a thin line between safety and tragedy. Don't cross it. Give law enforcement, first responders, and service professionals the space to safely do their jobs. When you see flashing lights, move over a lane or slow down 20 miles per hour below the posted speed limit. See lights? Move over, Florida. Brought to you by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles and the Florida Highway Patrol.
Hold on. You want me to tell them about Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea in just 30 seconds? This is impossible. Hey, I'm Billy from Twisted Tea. How can I explain that first sip of cold, smooth, real brewed tea? So good! And the extra kick you get from just the right amount of alcohol? The twist of lemon, Wait, what? We're almost out of time? Oh, shit. Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Look for the bright yellow cans wherever you buy beer.
Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
Reconnect with the best version of you at Amara Med Spa, Northeast Florida's premier luxury medical spa, located in Ponte Vedra, Town Center, Avondale, St. Augustine, and Fernandina. With the most advanced injectors, estheticians, and technology, Amara Med Spa is redefining beauty, offering services such as Botox and filler, M-Sculpt Neo, painless laser hair removal, and advanced skincare treatments. Visit theamaramedspa.com and book a complimentary consultation today.
Your hometown gate now has more ways to save. Introducing My Gate Rewards, a new loyalty program with member-exclusive savings and fuel discounts. Earn points on in-store purchases, take advantage of special offers, and save on products you love. Score free coffee, fountain drinks, pizza, and soft serve with Gate's frequent shopper clubs. Then use your points on savings at the pump. Download the My Gate Rewards app in the App Store today or ask a store associate for more information. Go from good to Gate.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
Welcome back. It is the Doug Pederson Show. J.P. Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. Jaguars and the Colts coming up. The Jags at 2-3, 1-1 in the division, and a big chance to swing it with a win on the road and get to 2-1 in the AFC South. Well, quarterback play has been a topic this week. The running game, or for at least some fans or callers into some of our shows, lack thereof in the running game. I think a lot of people around here, Logs, are programmed to see Maurice Jones-Drew and Fred Taylor 35 times a game, and Leonard Fournette and James Stewart and all these running backs, and it's been a franchise that has pounded the football a lot of its history.
Yep.
And that's not going to be the case for Doug Pederson unless there's a plan one time that's the way they have to win the game. They would go do that, I think, but that's not priority number one for them.
Well, I mean, I think it can be at times, but this, I think, is a very quarterback-centric offense, which you go back and you look at the lineage of this offense, which Doug Pederson comes from Andy Reid. Andy Reid comes from who? Mike Holmgren.
Holmgren, yep.
Okay, Mike Holmgren comes from Bill Walsh.
Ah, yes.
Okay, and so Joe Montana, Steve Young, throwing the ball. Did the 49ers ever have a big-time running back in the day? I mean, they had a good one, but Roger Craig.
Yep.
Okay, but it wasn't like Roger Craig was John Riggins, and then the Hogs weren't there in San Francisco. So this is a quarterback-centric and somewhat pass-first offense. But some of the passes that we're talking about are short passes intended to essentially act as runs. And then you have a running game mixed in as well, which I think it's pass first and then run. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's the modern-day NFL. And your quarterback has to be able to execute some of these throws that are underneath, be accurate, allow the runners to make yards after catch, to do things with the ball. And it just takes some time and some growth with a young quarterback to be able to become efficient. In a perfect setting with this kind of offense, you'd love for your quarterback to be somewhere pushing that 70% completion rate. I mean, if you're there, you're pretty good. Okay, and that's where you'd like to be, because this is an offense that has a lot of great design to it and gets a lot of receivers that are open. That's the one thing I think that has impressed me in the first part of the season has been the plays are there. They've just got to be executed. Sometimes they don't happen because the quarterback might be inaccurate. Maybe he makes a bad decision. Maybe there's pressure on a play and there's not time. Maybe one of his guys doesn't do what he's supposed to do. So it can be a multitude of things. And a lot of the blame is going to fall right squarely in the lap of the quarterback, and that's kind of part of the deal. He has to grow. He needs time, and he needs time on the offense. He needs time and experience with the defense with this offense. So that's all going to come. And I feel confident that Trevor is working in that direction. And the one thing you always find with young players is you have that inconsistency. You know, you'll have 2 weeks to where he looks good. We saw that against the Colts. We saw that against the Chargers.
Yes.
And then we might see a bad week. Okay, well, we saw that against the Eagles. Well, he put another bad one together. Passer rating was actually worse this past game against the Texans than it was in the previous week against the Eagles. But we know that the Eagles one was probably worse just because of the giveaways that he had. So that's what happens. But now you just want, if you're looking at it from a stock market perspective, you want the lines to continue to ascend and then the up and downs to start to eliminate, the consistency to be there. And that just is part of the growing process. And I shared this story earlier, and I'm going to share it again because I think it has a lot of application when it comes to people's perspective on Trevor Lawrence. In 1990, I was with the Jets. And see, pull up the 1990 Jets schedule for me, will you?
Yep.
And tell me exactly when we faced the Dallas Cowboys in New York.
We're looking. The crack research staff is digging deep, and we'll have an answer for you post-haste. Stand by.
Because here's the story. We were getting ready to play the Dallas Cowboys and Troy Aikman.
All right. The Dallas Cowboys, November 4th, 1990, Week 9.
Okay. We were – and what were the Dallas Cowboys at that point? Do you remember what their record was?
Stand by.
Troy did not win a game his rookie year in 1989.
They were not very good, I can tell you that.
Right?
They were, let's see, 1-3, 2-3, 2-4.
They weren't very good.
No.
Okay. We were preparing for that game.
They were 3-5.
Okay, we were preparing for that game, and we felt like that Troy was scared. That kind of a young quarterback that wasn't experienced, that was scared.
Troy Aikman, yes.
And I don't know what his numbers were at that point, but regardless. So our defensive coordinator, which was Pete Carroll, defensive backs coach Ed Donatel, Monty Kiffin, linebackers coach. We had a great staff.
I would say.
Great staff. Mm-hmm. So we decided that on the very first snap of the game, that as soon as he got under center, and then the very first sound that he utters, we're all jumping off sides. We're plowing into the offensive lineman to make him all fall back in his lap because we thought he was scared. Well, he starts walking towards the center. We're in a 3-point. We're ready to go. He gets under center, says, down. There we go. Into the lineman, Scott Mercer, our nose tackle, blows up the center back into his lap, which was Mark Stepnoski, good friend of mine from back in the day. And we push all the offensive linemen back in the day, and he's like, eyes big around as silver dollars. Like, yeah, we got him. So we get penalized 5 yards as a defense. We knew we were going to get it. We were like, so what? So they march off 5 yards. Okay, next play, he goes back to the huddle. He comes out to take the next snap. Fumble, quarterback center exchange. We recover. We take over inside the 10. We take it in for the first score of the game. The moral of the story is that was a second-year quarterback in Troy Aikman who we viewed as being scared and not very good. And we felt that we could affect him to get in his head. The guy turned out to be a Hall of Famer. I'm not saying that Trevor Lawrence is going to be a Hall of Famer. I'm just saying that he's a young quarterback and he needs time to grow. So let's give him time to grow.
Story time with Jeff Lageman is never bad time at all. We're back in a moment. The social media question, powered by Microsoft Surface. We'll get an answer out of Logs when we come back. It's the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.
Jags fans, sign up for ESPN Plus to see Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars take on Russell Wilson and the Broncos across the pond at London's Wembley Stadium Sunday, October 30th. ESPN Plus gives you access to nonstop NFL action all season long with live games, originals, highlights, and more. After you sign up, be sure to log into your device with your ESPN account to stream on your TV and other devices. Visit ESPNplus.com/NFL for more details.
Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
It's Ford Truck Month. Now's the time to get a great deal on the only trucks built Ford tough. Work or play, get after it in a new Ford F-150 or Super Duty truck. Get a Ford Maverick or get after any adventure in a Ford Ranger pickup. Take advantage of our best offers on the full Ford lineup of trucks. But you better get going. These deals won't last. Get to Ford Truck Month. Some models, trims, and features may not be available or may be subject to change. See your local dealer for details.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
At 5-Star Credit Union, you inspire them to go the extra mile to meet your financial needs. That's why they offer Jaguars fans more banking options like better rates and no hidden fees. Their team is also dedicated to making the communities they serve stronger, volunteering their time and talents while donating millions to local nonprofits. 5-Star Credit Union, 5starcu.org. Go Jags!
Hey, I'm driving. I joined the new Dunkin' Rewards program, and today's the day I'm going to use my points on a medium iced latte and a couple of chocolate frosted donuts.
Here you go, and thanks for being a rewards member.
And now I'm using those chocolate frosted donuts, kids, to get a few sweet, blissful minutes of beautiful relief from the never-ending onslaught of backseat bickering.
Join new Dunkin' Rewards today. Join new Dunkin' Rewards today. Save them, stack them, use them how you want. America runs on Dunkin'. Terms apply.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
Welcome back to the Doug Pederson Show, presented by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles. J.P. Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. And Logs, let's go to the Microsoft Surface for a social media question. Plenty of submissions earlier today on Twitter. This is at Jags Credo on Twitter. What's the biggest thing holding this team back, and how do they overcome it?
Well, I think the biggest thing that's holding this team back is first and foremost is youth. and experience. When you gain some experience, and most importantly at the quarterback position, then I think that this team will be vastly different. And the other thing is that this team is still in the building mode. You need to assemble more good players for this football team over the coming years. Now, we know that this team historically hasn't drafted that well going back 10 years or whatever. The last couple of years, you think they're pretty good and you hope they're good, but the reality is you got to wait and see. And but for a young football team, you got to get experience and you got to get time on task, especially at that quarterback position. Defensively, you got to start putting together some strong performances defensively as far as individuals go. And but yeah, the experience is not there. The youthfulness, the enthusiasm is there. You've got excellent coaching, I think. So I think it takes time. And I'm not saying it takes time like, hey, everybody have patience. It's going to take 4 or 5 years. I'm not saying that. I think it's going to take some time. When this quarterback figures it out, hold on. That's one thing I think that's encouraging for me is that in years past with the quarterback play that we've had, there are things that you just don't see with past quarterbacks. They don't have the arm strength to make a certain throw. They don't have an athleticism to do certain things. They don't have the toughness physically, the mental toughness. Those are some of the traits that with Trevor, you think that he's got that are there. Some of those throws that he had in the game, the seam throw down the seam to Ingram. I mean, that window was about that big, and Trevor thread that ball in there perfectly. The throw to Marvin Jones on the rollout pass to the left, where he's got to square his shoulders back up and throw that thing to Marvin. I mean, that was an absolute dart. I mean, those are the things that some of the quarterbacks that you've had in years past, they couldn't do that. So these are things that I think excite me. And then the more experience that he gets, the better the accuracy is going to be overall, the more consistency that he's going to get. So I look forward to that.
We'll come back in a moment. The results of our wingspan measuring contest and final thoughts ahead of the Jaguars and the Colts.
I think I might have won.
Maybe. It's the Doug Pederson Show on Jaguars Radio.
On the road, there's a thin line between safety and tragedy. Don't cross it. Give law enforcement, first responders, and service professionals the space to safely do their jobs. When you see flashing lights, move over a lane or slow down 20 miles per hour below the posted speed limit. See lights? Move over, Florida. Brought to you by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles and the Florida Highway Patrol.
Your hometown gate now has more ways to save. Introducing My Gate Rewards, a new loyalty program with member-exclusive savings and fuel discounts. Earn points on in-store purchases, take advantage of special offers, and save on products you love. Score free coffee, fountain drinks, pizza, and soft serve with Gates frequent shopper clubs. Then use your points on savings at the pump. Download the My Gate Rewards app in the App Store today or ask a store associate for more information. Go from good to Gate.
Cancer patients across the Southeast make Baptist MD Anderson Cancer Center in Jacksonville their first choice for treatment. Dr. Jonathan Melquist explains why.
We have so many resources that can help a patient from the very onset, and we just have a degree of unity and cohesive care that is hard to match. It's especially with the tougher cancers that we really excel.
Appointments available now. Call 844-632-2278.
At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, one taste and you're feeling good now, smiling wider now, seeing brighter now, bucket dunking now, namasteing now, popping a wheelie now, living lighter now. You're on Tropic Time now. And on Mondays, try our Jaguars Duval Delight Smoothies for $2.99. And you're roaring louder now, end zone dancing now, sipping spirit now. You're on Tropic Time now. at Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
With the first pick in the 2022 draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Duck Duck Rooter, the best plumbing and septic company in Florida.
Congratulations, Duck Duck Rooter. So tell us, how does it feel to be picked number one?
Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services is excited to announce we're a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When you need help tackling any type of plumbing or septic issue, call our team of first-round draft picks for the win. DuckDuckRooter.com. That's DuckDuckRooter.com.
Crown Royal's That Deserves a Crown program recognizes local heroes for making a positive impact in the community. The Jaguars and Crown Royal are giving back to those who served this season, celebrating these individuals with the ultimate VIP Jaguars home game experience. Nominate someone who deserves a crown today at jaguars.com/Crown Royal Promotion. Please drink responsibly.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
Welcome back. Final moments of the Doug Pederson Show. J.P. Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. Glad you're with us. Jaguars and the Colts coming up at Lucas Oil Stadium. Our final thoughts on that game coming up. Let's get the results of the Jaguars Radio Network wingspan measurement contest. This came up because of the DeForest Buckner conversation, 82-inch wingspan.
Michael Jordan had an 83-inch wingspan,
right,
which is, arm spread wide, tip to tip.
Manute Bol was 8'6", by the way.
Really?
His wingspan.
Wow. So
that's the longest in NBA history. That's a long way.
Crazy.
It's a lot.
So that's 102.
It's a lot.
Right?
Right.
Is that right?
But he was also like 220 pounds, so he was tiny.
Golly.
Anyway.
So we did the measurements on the three of us here in the studio. I came in as the highest scorer. I don't know if you would call that a score.
You had the longest wingspan. Yeah. That's all you had. It's 80 inches.
Well, I like to consider the competitive part of me.
Yeah.
I'm winning.
80 inches.
80.
I came in second at 78.5. Joe Fortunato, a lowly third at 73.5. We didn't get to Brent Reber. He's in the other room.
Yeah.
I mean, it's because you work out more than me, Logs. That's why that's what it is, right?
He said that.
That's what it is.
He said that workout's really paying off for me. I'm like, wait a minute. What does wingspan have to do with workouts?
That's what it is.
I don't know.
All right, so now let's move forward to this Jaguars game on Sunday, and it's a
it's a 1 o'clock kick, right?
It is,
okay.
And it's a road game in the division, and it's a Jaguars team that's 2-3 and 1-1 in the division. A win would go a long way, I think, for this team.
Well, and this team needs to get back to executing on offense the way that it can, and then defensively they need to get back to having a strong defensive performance as far as affecting the passer, taking the ball away. If you do those things, which is what they did in those two games, they're going to win. The Colts are a team that got a reality. Colts have a lot of injuries right now. A lot of injuries. A lot of guys that are questionable. They're not going to have their full strength of players. Take advantage of it. Win the winnable games.
Jaguars All Access TV tonight. Special guest.
Well, we got a couple of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who are they?
Josh Allen.
Thank you.
Devin Lloyd.
Awesome.
Brent Martineau.
There you have it.
And me.
And Jeff Lageman.
At Strings.
That'll do it for
7 o'clock.
Oh, yeah. Be there.
Fox.
Strings.
Fox 30.
Springfield. That's Joe Fortunato. Brent Reber. That's Jeff Lageman. I'm J.P. Shadrick. Thank you for listening to the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.